So I did want to make this really quick video because I've been seeing this bit of information going around and making the rounds, and it's misinformation. The Democrats did this deliberately, I believe, kind of during the whole Trump Epstein thing, to sort of highlight Trump's connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, before I go any further, I do want to say, of course, Donald Trump should not be withholding unclassified information or information that can be redacted in regards to Jeffrey Epstein. I think it's rather obvious that, in my opinion, it just seems to be obvious that Donald Trump is keeping certain information regarding to Epstein and his activities private for whatever reason. I think it's likely either he's implicated in what was going on, he did something with Jeffrey Epstein that was embarrassing, or he is protecting very powerful people who, if it was revealed they were doing certain things with Jeffrey Epstein, it would destabilize the global economy, which I think is a highly likely scenario. Even just for the sake of the stability of the government and the economy, no, I don't think that he should be covering up for people connected with Jeffrey Epstein. So let's get all that out of the way before I start talking about what the Democrats did. Now, the House Democrats released 19 pictures related to Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm not going to go through this entire article. I'm not sure how safe for work it is. I mean, even the headline here is not the most safe for work. But I just wanted to point this out. This is like the big viral image that I've been seeing this on several websites going viral. A picture of Donald Trump with 6 unidentified women. And it seems pretty bad. It's like, oh, he's with these women and their faces have been redacted. This has to be a time when he met with Jeffrey Epstein on the island and was doing sordid things with individuals who were underage. And we can actually read this here. People's kind of just taking the Democrats' word for it, as a lot of people did, and understandably so. These are not just random Democrats. This is literally like the Democratic oversight, that the House Oversight Committee, literally an arm of the government. But here's what it says: Donald Trump and a group of women. Donald Trump and 6 unidentified women. Donald Trump poses with at least 6 women whose faces were covered by the House Oversight Committee for privacy reasons in one of the newly shared photos. It remains unclear whether the women were victims of Jeffrey Epstein or if their identities were kept anonymous for other reasons. That has become clear later on. In response to House Democrats releasing this image of Trump and more on Friday, White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson told People, once again, House Democrats are selectively releasing cherry-picked photos with random redactions to try and create a false narrative, end quote. Usually these things are just like PR speak, when in this case it was actually true. After pointing fingers at some Democrats for having apparent ties to Epstein following his sex crimes conviction in 2008, Jackson added, the Democrat hoax against President Trump has been repeatedly debunked, and the Trump administration has done more for Epstein's victims than Democrats ever have by repeatedly calling for transparency, releasing thousands of pages of documents, and calling for further investigations into Epstein's Democrat friends. While that's true, there is more that Donald Trump could be doing to release information, and he is lying about how much information that he has, or either him or Cash Patel, whatever. The administration is lying about how much information that they have in refusing to be as transparent as possible about what they have and what can be released and why they haven't released what they have. So it's time for the media to stop regurgitating Democrat talking points and start asking Democrats why they want to hang around Epstein after he was convicted, she concluded. I will also add, you will not really hear any allegations of a Republican hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. At the time, Donald Trump was a Democrat. I haven't heard a single word about John McCain or George W. Bush hobnobbing with Jeffrey Epstein. Always Democrats. I find that interesting. But there's something else here. This article came out which sort of blew the lid on this whole thing. Now, I'm not saying that the other images were fake or as well or whatever, but this was released in a very misleading way. And this exposed the entire charade. This is from the New York Post. Unredacted photos of President Trump from the late abuser Jeffrey Epstein's estate, which oddly blurred the faces of women he posed with, revealed he was standing standing with adult women models, according to exclusive images obtained by the Post. Democrats in the House Oversight Committee released a trove of images from Epstein's estate Friday, including 2 shots of the president with women whose faces were blacked out, fueling speculation that they could be the disgraced financier's victims. But a pair of pictures obtained exclusively by the Post show Trump standing next to beautiful grown women. You can see here, they all appear to certainly be of age, in my opinion. It says the faces of 5 Hawaiian tropic models Donald Trump was seen posing with were redacted in the trove released by the House Oversight Committee on Friday. The redacted image first released. One woman pictured in a black and white image with the future president, 5 other glamorous ladies in Hawaiian lies, said he was a gentleman who went out of his way to make sure the group enjoyed their evening at Mar-a-Lago. I don't remember it that much, she told the Telegraph. Oh, so did this come from the Telegraph? Trump pictured surrounded by women in new Epstein file release. So it seems like the media was aware that this was not it seems like the media was aware that they were not underage, because it says here the president, and this is from the Telegraph, whose article preceded the New York Times, New York Post's article. The U.S. president, who was friends with Epstein in the 90s, has his arms around 2 of the women who were wearing Hawaiian leis around their necks. The women were models representing Hawaiian Tropic, the American suntan lotion brand, at an event at Mar-a-Lago. The photo was thought to have been taken in 1998 when Epstein and Mr. Trump were close friends and the models were in their 20s. One of the women in the Mar-a-Lago photo told the Telegraph that the U.S. president was a gentleman who went out of his way to ensure the group enjoyed their evening at his Florida holiday home. I was 22 years old. I remember him being very nice. He was gentlemanly. That's the word to describe him. So all that to say that, there's no reason to release these pictures with the faces redacted other than to insinuate that these are victims, right? And that's why so many, people's names and faces and pictures and videos and things have been redacted from the information that the FBI currently has, is because they want to protect their privacy. And also, these are victims. You don't want to re-victimize those individuals. Now, there's this whole other angle to the saga, which is that people tried to use AI to essentially unredact this photo. So we see this is the actual real unredacted photo. And this is a thread from Tal Hagen. It says here, what do you get when you mix a redacted photo from the Epstein estate with AI enhancement tools? Nothing good or real. So this is the redacted photo. And this is a photo that some people had made using AI. And you can obviously tell that this person's just been decapitated right there. And there's also a little Gemini logo down there in the lower right-hand corner. That's Google's AI. Then you've got the real photo here. It's included. So it says here, the original image was released with the women's faces blurred. Naturally, people wanted to know who they were, and some turned to AI to enhance the image. The first altered version came from Google Gemini. It was heavily distorted. One woman's face was warped beyond recognition, and it still included an AI watermark. Despite this, some people accepted it as real. You can see this. This is from Booker 9E1 on X. Yep. And then scrolling down here, it says, then the New York Post reportedly released what it claimed was the actual unredacted image. But by this point, the information space had already been polluted by the Gemini version. As a result, many dismissed the Post's image as yet another AI fake or claimed it was already released. It says you've been duped by Democrats. Screenshots of other posts. It says, don't worry, it gets worse. Before the NYP post, an Instagram user ran the image through Nano Banana AI. If we assume the New York Post image is legitimate, Nano Banana did not just enhance it, it created an entirely different face for one of the women. It does this a lot, which is not good. So it says here, this is why using AI to enhance blurred or redacted images is dangerous. AI does not cover hidden details. It hallucinates them. It fills in gaps based on patterns, not reality. This means it can easily manufacture a completely different person's face. For a better understanding of LMMs, and he's trying to get people to look at his other posts. which worked because I clicked on the link. Is he selling something here? No, he wants you to read his article. Okay, understandable. Yeah, this is more general stuff talking about people are trying to use AI images to get a clear picture of Tyler Robinson, all of that stuff. But this is just a massive whirlwind of misinformation. And it's very important that when you see certain things being spread on the internet, you don't just take what you see first at face value, you do your own digging. When I first saw the unredacted image and I saw people saying it was fake and AI, I was like, you know what? I'm going to look it up for myself and see whether or not it's actually AI or whether or not it's real. So that's how I was able to come to the truth and figure out, oh, this is actually a real image. But not everyone is so discerning or has the time necessary to do so. So it's important that media outlets are transparent with their audiences, and when facts change, they correct them. Of course, Democrats are going to lie about Republicans, and it goes the other way as well. But I do hope that media outlets like People Magazine, who have not changed this article from what I know, are more transparent, and they're saying, hey, this is like an old photo. It has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. These, kind of something along those lines, right? It's very obvious that this was kind of like a hit piece done to attack Donald Trump. Now, the other photos might be legitimate. I honestly do not know. I'm going to assume that they are, in large part because they don't include Donald Trump in them. But also just because it would be a very bad thing for trust in our institutions if Democrats are just brazenly, deceptively releasing a trove of misinformation targeting their political opponent. I guess they've already done that with Donald Trump here, which is bad enough. But if they did this repeatedly in a obscenely gratuitous way, then I think that's even worse, and that's going to cause people to trust the Democrat Party even less.